So I want to talk about something that you're super passionate about, which is diversity within the sneaker industry or
Yeah.
streetwear as a whole.
Yeah.
This is a very obvious question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I want to hear your point of view. Why are you so passionate about diversity within the sneaker industry, and what's kind of led to that?
Yeah. I think I'm so passionate about it because it's my lived experience of maybe feeling that I don't belong or feeling like, oh, this industry is not built for me. Like these spaces were not created for me. And then naturally, me and my peers, specifically other Black women, just by kind of being ourselves and entering these spaces and creating what we create and being unapologetic about it is opening these spaces up, you know? So once I saw that kind of happen and seeing the benefits for that for myself and those around me, it's very hard to not get very positively swept into that, you know? I love change. I think we have the power, so much power to impact change in our lives. And I think the best way to do that is to start with something that, you know, you've been personally affected by. And having grown up in a very, very male dominated industry, sneakers and streetwear, I think it just lends itself naturally to wanting to like kind of rectify that a little bit through my own life and my own things that I do. And then you have the intersect also. I grew up in a very, very predominantly white area, which when I was a child, I really didn't notice too much of it being a problem because you were acclimatized. It's only really in hindsight now that I think, like maybe some of my self-confidence issues, maybe the fact I didn't want to be seen and I was very shy as a kid, which you would not believe now. But maybe that's all tied into like race and, you know, not feeling like I had people around me that understood my experience. So I would just like to hope, well, I like to think that, and I hope that by doing the work that me and my peers are kind of doing, that other people may not have those access to those kind of groups around them, but they can come online and there's a safe space that they belong and they can see, you know, people that look like them doing the things that they like and they want to do too, which is something that we just definitely did not have growing up. And I have to say, I think a lot of the times when we talk about things like this, it's very much talking about how far we've got to go and the issues that we have. But from my perspective as a Black female in the sneaker industry, the past 4 to 5 years have been phenomenal. And I mean, the things that like we're entering these spaces and the kind of the output that we're able to do and achieve and the places we're going is amazing. I just need to we just want to see it kind of expand beyond social media campaigns, things like that. We need to see designers, people in the C-suites making the decisions. We need to see women and Black women all the way up, you know, not just me on the social media posts, you know, that's not enough. But I wouldn't have been there 3-4 years ago. So have to remember where we're going and how far we've come in the same kind of journey.
Yeah, and I love that you said that, because one of the things I was going to say is like you're making an impact, right? And it's really, I guess it's really cool to just see you know, you being passionate about something, rightly so, because there's obviously a need there, and actually seeing an impact and actually seeing a difference being made.
Actually seeing change happen.
Actually
like,
seeing change happen
like
throughout the years. That's so cool to be part of that.
And I've seen so much change happen in this past year, you know, like I remember I did a Levi's shoot this year and I walked in and it was just a whole Black crew and cast. And I couldn't believe it. Like
that was a sick shoot though.
So amazing.
Very sick shoot.
And I've been in this industry like a while now, and that was probably the first time that had ever happened, which was incredible. And what Levi's did there is they outsourced the roles. So like rather than doing all the production and everything in-house, they hired an external company to do it. So they held their hands up and say, okay, maybe we're not the right people, the right demographic to tell these Black stories, and they're not. But what we're going to do is outsource that and pay other Black creatives and production companies to do it for us, which I think is a simple solution, but we should dial it back and remember that hiring in the first instance should be correct. There should be Black people on that team anyway that can carry that project. But in the interim, outsourcing it to people of the community is the best way, for sure. But in terms of like other challenges, I guess like I feel like we have to work quite a bit harder as Black individuals. And I've internalized that quite a lot. I think my work ethic is borderline dangerous sometimes, you know. I live and breathe it and I do it all the time and I'm constantly thinking about it, and I love to, well, I'd love to think that was just because I'm really hardworking, but I think actually that is an internalized realization that being a Black person in these creative industries, you have to fight for your place a lot, and you have to really kind of shout about what you do in ways that other demographics don't really need to or have the luxury not to.
Nice, interesting.
Yeah.
And again, loving just seeing the progression that's happening
Yeah.
over the last few years for yourself, but then through others and your peers as well. It's
Yeah.
beautiful to see. And
It really
yes,
is.
we've got miles to go, but it's good to see progression happening.
Yeah,